Thank you very much, Janki, for the kind introduction. And I also know you've had some wonderful presentations, the first couple of presentations. And I'm equally conscious that I'm the only one standing between you and a great lunch ahead. So I'll...
Great lunch. We have one more session after this,
Okay,
Ajay. Yeah.
that's fine. That just makes it a little more comforting.
Yeah. No. So this is, they're refreshed after the morning break, so, and lunch is a little while away. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So, what I'll be talking to you today largely is around the various employment models. And before I start getting down to the details here, there are 3 or 4 things which I'll touch on. One, probably the context. How has the concept of employment and employability changed in the last millennium? The second part I'll talk to you is what really is the burning platform, the trigger to look at employment models differently. Third, I'll talk to you about what are some of the existing employment models which we are adopting, not only in India but also globally. There's a global shift in the way we look at employment as well. And the last thing which I'll probably talk about is how do we see the employment model and employability, especially in our Indian context, changing over the next few years. So I'll start first with exploring the employment model. So the first part here is what really is the burning platform? Now, the burning platform clearly are multiple here. If we look at the way the employment context has evolved, a few years back, a few decades back, what did employment mean? Employment meant, a stable salary, a fixed income which you get at the end of the month, something which you look forward to, and a good Diwali bonus, steady increments, job security, steady but consistent growth. So that's what employment meant. Now the context is changing. So as and when we interview resources, across various multiple lines, so the first thing people ask is that I honestly don't care about job security. I mean, if you don't give me a job, somebody else will. I'm confident about my own skills, my knowledge, my capability. I'm here to contribute. I'm here to deliver. And yes, I want quick and instantaneous gratification. There are people who ask us, do I necessarily have to contribute to a provident fund? We says, yes, this is the law of the land, you have to. When you talk to them about gratuity, they said, please do not even include it in my package. I'm least interested. Can you convert it into a cash component? ESOPs, which were a great attraction maybe a few years back, and especially when organizations were going through the IPO route, today it isn't necessarily a great attraction. Because ESOPs do come with a certain vesting period. So it's not necessarily a great attraction, unless of course the chunk and the kitty is really large to hold people back. So the concept of employment, the concept of employee expectations, and more importantly, is the skill set of employees is changing so dramatically that this necessitates that we look at employment in a very different context. I'll share a live example. I'll talk about my previous organization. I was interviewing a very bright person from a very premier engineering college. He had applied for a job in our analytics function. So the normal questions we ask a person that why do you want to join the company? What are your key contributions, etc., etc. So he answered all of that pretty well here. When we asked him, what are your future aspirations? He said, I have no future aspirations. I'm here to do a job for you, and I will do it well for 3 years, and after that I'll evaluate whether I want to stay in your company or don't want to stay in your company. So this is the kind of expectations, and of course the person joined us. Fortunately, the person stayed for more than 3 years here and did a brilliant job, and the person got an opportunity to go globally and internationally. But clearly, the point which I'm trying to drive here is expectations are changing. The way employees are looking at employment is very, very different from what it was in the past. What are the key reasons for it? I think clearly different industries, different expectations, the millennium workforce, the generation Ys or the Zs we may call, they clearly have very, very different expectations. And yes, the number of employment opportunities are humongous. So keeping that in mind here, the burning platform is, one is probably the need to look at do you really need permanent employees for all jobs? Or can you look at even a very suitable contract model?